And welcome back. It is 1:38. So at 1:46, let's see where I am. My past self said 8 minutes into this part that you would see me rage quit, sorry. I will say I've waited so long for this, but I think it was Ian Prime had said something like they're probably close to 100 or 150. And I actually looked up all of the issues. Volume 1 was 73, Volume 2 was 6, Volume 3 with 24, Volume 4 with 52, and Volume 5 with 45. So we were over 200. So here we are. So now I can have AKA, which always annoys Donovan. I wanted to briefly bring up Margaret Scott because she actually, during COVID times, I think, June 23rd, yeah, talked about her terrible experience at DC Comics. She said, these are tweets coming from her. The day I knew I'd never be able to make it big in comics, the day I bumped into another writer in an airport and accidentally learned he was heading to DC's Burbank offices for a Bat Family Summit. I was writing Batgirl at the time. I wasn't invited. I had just started the gig and I desperately wanted to believe it was timing. I begged my editors to let me come in for free and at least sit in on summits that dealt with my characters. I was literally working up the street at the time. It didn't matter. Um, there was at least one more summit I know about that I was invited to. I suspect more than one, given how whole storylines of mine would be thrown out to accommodate a new event my characters were in without my knowledge, inclusion, or opinion. I was expected to shut up and execute, to chase and beg higher up writers who couldn't be bothered to even let me know they were about to blow up months of work, then write revision after revision with no extra pay. Excuse me. It got so bad I literally couldn't afford to work there anymore because my pay was so low. I quit. I still blame myself for that. I thought I could be good enough to break through it, even if I knew it wasn't about merit. I'm not doing this to blow up anybody. I just want young women out there to remember that when someone tells you, I support women, you look around and see if there are any effing, geez, the whole word, women near him that he's actually supporting, because if there aren't, he just supports himself, which who boy. I mean, yeah, her leaving, obviously we wondered, we as in the people in my circle wondered about that. Trying to pick up, I know I had a picture of a solicit somewhere recently of 46. When the February preview came out, it says, this is 46. I'm about to do 46. After a catfight with Catwoman last issue, when did that happen? Batgirl thinks Selena is right about these statues. Could they be made from actual living Gothamites? But when her investigation leads her to the KG Beast and he tells how he was involved in Nightwing being shot, all bets are off and Batgirl is faced with doing the right thing or doing what is right for someone she loves. When did any of that actually happen? So I think that just goes to prove the point, right? And that's Cecil Castellucci. I don't even know what to say about that. So any issues I have with these stories, I think, as time has gone on, I can't really blame the writer to a certain extent. I think depending, if I hear the writer and how the writer speaks about Barbara, I can disagree with that. But with all of this stuff going on and weird things and story decisions, I don't know to what extent I can actually blame him or her. So I just wanted to let you know about those tweets, and I'm sorry that that happened. And I don't know what DC is doing, and I hope it's better. I hope it gets better now that they're cleaning house. Maybe, I don't know. I hope that, well, I'm going to go on a big diatribe, honestly, pretty soon. So I guess I can just wait for that. Let's do 46 first. So Batgirl 46, aka 98, aka 201, Stay Gold. Writer Cecil Castellucci, artist Carmine D. Giandomenico, and colorist Jordi Belair. Gotham Substation number 214. Batgirl is in the throes of a battle with KG Beast. Batwoman is knocked out, so great purpose for her. And Dasha does her villain talks a lot thing. Batgirl uses that to her advantage to ask Dasha's life story and distract her so she can use a laser in her gauntlet to escape. There was an accident when Dasha was younger, and her mother, along with the rest of the village that they lived in, was turned into gold during an experiment. Dasha molded her mother into a bracelet to keep her close. Turns out Dasha could hear her mother's voice and the others in there and wanted to free them. Of course, the government thought she was crazy. She needs a great deal of power to get them out, and it seems a life is worth a life. Makes sense. Hashtag druids. And Caesar, not that I'm, calling other people out. And that is why she was using the homeless people, because of course no one cares about the homeless people. They're just silent generation. Batgirl frees herself and KG Beast shoots at her while she Batgirl frees herself and KGB shoots at her, which overloads the system. Batwoman wakes up and fights KG Beast. Dasha begins to transform and show her people. And Batgirl contemplates what ends she would go to. Transform and not sure what I meant there. Dasha begins to transform with the gold. I do know that. Her people do start appearing. I'll go with that. Okay. This is Stella of 2 weeks ago. And Batgirl contemplates what ends she would go to bring back someone she loved. Dasha argues that she contributed to renewable energy by sacrificing the homeless. So, hey, it wasn't all bad. Dasha interacts with the vat and the energy peaks, and it looks like she was the key as several people from within the gold appear. KGB starts freaking out, and Batgirl somehow severs the connection by throwing people back into the vat, as if that makes sense. Batgirl tries to save Dasha, who is trying to create electricity off the grid, but Batgirl prevents her, I guess. Even though the next page says Dasha created gridless energy, so I don't know. Dasha is carted away. Batwoman and Batgirl shake hands, and Alejo uses the tragedy of the event to help the neighborhood with the new energy. Babs considers quitting, and so does Jason. So they play hooky and go on a date, even though Babs doesn't know if it's a date. She has an internal monologue again as they talk about past and future. During a rooftop picnic at night, Babs considers telling Jason her secret, but he misinterprets that she is afraid, and they end up kissing. She arrives home talking on the phone with him and enters her apartment with the Joker behind her door. Yay. Next, the joke that kills. Uh-oh. Favorite art would probably be the rooftop scene. It would be much better if Jason wasn't up there, but just it's laid out well and it looks nice. So there's my positive aspect of this. I have to check because I'm close. I was wrong. COVID did not do this issue or this book any favors. Time between it made this and 45 made it hard to get back into. It's too long of a fight scene. It's with overwrought dialogue. Batgirl is feeding into the villain, giving, the monologue trope. It's too much. I don't know if it would have been any better if COVID hadn't happened, but here we are. Oh, and what the F was the point of Batwoman even being there? I mean, she gets knocked out. She barely does anything. It was like a Silver Age trope for sure. The villain, Dasha, she did nothing for me. She wasn't really very intriguing. We actually don't know much about her until this one when there's just this huge info dump on it. So that's it, kind of a rush there. And then, why did KGB suddenly, why is he even there to begin with? Why does he wimp out? How did he escape? Was this just a point to bring the connection between Babs and Dick and KG Beast and harming Dick, which I didn't even know about until there was an editor's note? I really don't know. Alejo ends up using the tech, saying a terrible wrong can make a right. And I feel like she's steadily become a shady politician. And perhaps this is the only purpose of Dasha, this villain here, to set Alejo up as an even greater one. And if that doesn't happen, I kind of question what some of these shady arcs have been doing and why you've been leading us readers in this one direction and you decided not to fulfill that. Babs says she'll be leaving. I continue to be surprised that she even has a job. And she's still a volunteer, right? She's not getting paid, which is bad because she's lost all her money after giving up Gordon Clean Energy, which she lives in a ramshackle apartment. Yikes. While playing hooky, Barbara asks herself if it's a date. Oh my gosh. Wasn't it established that it's a date? Why are you conflicted internally as to whether or not this is a date? I don't understand. The internal musings of Barbara are so annoying as she goes on this date non-date. I can almost not, I can't even handle it, really. Such Mixed messages to Jason. It was established at the end of issue 44 that they weren't enemies anymore. So I don't know why all of a sudden we've got this unnecessary conflict and drama in the mix with him and Batgirl. And Barbara, you better not tell him you are Batgirl. Why would you reveal your greatest secret to someone with whom or for whom you have such great doubts? Does not make sense at all. Uh, and 50 sounds like we're going that way. I don't even know. She's going to reveal it and then apologize from Batgirl and Barbara to you, Jason. I'm sorry that I threw you off a building. My gosh, who is this Barbara Gordon? That's all I have to ask. And oh, great, the Joker. I mean, why the F doesn't Barbara have better security? This is Barbara frickin' Gordon we're talking about. Give me a break. To be honest, this was, I mean, I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 bats, but it was almost, I don't know. It was kind of like boring. Like, I don't even have too much. I did talk about some stuff, but really it's just like, okay, that's weird. That doesn't make sense. It's just like take it or leave it situation. It certainly didn't raise my ire like it the next one did. So 5 out of 10, it's just like, nah, okay. Okay. If you're just tuning in, I am Pastello was off by 3 minutes. So here we are. This is Batgirl 47. This is when rage quitting will in fact happen. I think also I might do some share screen, which makes me a bit nervous. So I won't do it a lot so that, you know, YouTube doesn't try to destroy me or something for copyright, but I will have it when I make some really intense claims for sure. Okay. I didn't even want to recap this garbage. I thought, what if I just went in and out of context just talked about all this stuff? But I guess I have to. I guess that's my role as host. Okay. Batgirl 47, aka 99, aka 202. The Anatomy of a Joke. Writer Cecil Castellucci. Artist Robbie Rodriguez. And colorist Jordi Belair. Babs is home after a date with Jason, doing her thing like undressing, cleaning up, eating, doing weird yoga, or stretching moves when she smells rotting flowers and senses someone in the apartment with her. She flings her wine glass at the intruder, only to discover it's the Joker. He knows she is Batgirl, and he knocks out her implant, making her paraplegic Babs once again. He goes through her history like a dossier. She throws some batarangs. She tries to activate computer security. He talks about their memories together. He manipulates her body with his little gizmo while asking for the codes to get into Batman's computer. He compares her to Robin, calling her a pale imitation. Then she laughs psychotically at him, which pisses him off. He talks about what he has done to other people in the family, then puppeteers her outside. On the way, she activates an SOS, but realizes it goes to Alfred and he's dead, so no one's going to be helping her. Joker says they are similar because she has done and is doing terrible things to Jason. She's just like James Jr. She gives him some info on the codes for some reason, then spots some detritus, as I like to say, really detritus, on the roof. After saying Batman will come for him and finish him, she stabs herself in the back, shorting out her chip, then getting a large pole from somewhere and throws it into the Joker from behind. The issue ends with them both bleeding out on the roof, mere inches from one another, laughing, and Joker saying that she's actually the best Robin. Next, a Gordon family affair. Favorite art? Let's start off positive, people. Let's start off positive. I actually enjoyed this art a great deal. I couldn't put my finger on it, but then I realized Robbie Rodriguez, Spider-Gwen. I feel like, and this is going to sound weird, it fits for Batgirl, but it doesn't fit for this Batgirl book. I think tonally it needs to be used differently. specifically the story. I don't think it even works either. One panel that I did not like, of course, is Batgirl Barbara laughing psychotically, which I will, of course, show you. Let's do some share screen. Let's do it. I'm a bit scared, but we shall see. I want to share this. Wonder if I could. Okay. We'll try this. I'm screen sharing. It's telling me, will this pop up? This is all very interesting. Can I see this? Do, 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 do. Ugh. I want zoom up. So sorry. It's okay though. It is, I guess, you'll just have to work with this particular thing, and then I need to, okay, please move this window away from, oh my gosh, you need to calm down, zoom. Okay, are we ready? Okay, I thought about this. You know, there are those reaction videos that people have, and I feel like they're doctored, because how did you know that, I don't know. I'm trying to think of one recently. I guess I could say like Joel. You know, if you weren't leaked, how did you know that Joel was going to die? How did you know that the Abby Ellie sort of thing? You didn't. You didn't know to capture yourself on video that this was going to happen. You had to watch it first, and then you had to re-summon up those things. So I thought to myself, wouldn't it be funny if I gave, you know, my whatever, my forced reaction. And I thought, you know, there's sort of the Valley Girl reaction, like, oh my gosh, this was so offensive. There's the Daria, like, this was so offensive. But the Stella has to say that this is one of the most offensive Batgirl comics that I have ever read. And I'm going to go through. You'll have to forgive me for hopping around, because I do have my notes, because otherwise I would just freak out. But honestly, I was so upset, and enough time has passed. It's been a week, I think, since I read this, but my ire was so high that I almost went after Ian Prime, who's probably the sweetest guy on Twitter that I know, because he like said something in quotes, and I was about to yell, not really at him, but just like this little quotation that he had. I just could not believe it. And maybe it's just me. I've got other people saying, yeah, I didn't like it either. Haven't heard from Carolyn yet. I'm waiting on that. Dawn said, oh, I didn't think it was offensive, but it wasn't very good. But no, it's absolutely offensive. Okay, let me begin here, because it'll increase. My ire will increase. I will say, as Calm Stella here, that DC takes it for granted that if you're reading Batgirl, you must be reading everything else that is Bat related, which is not true. This besides Wonder Woman, are the only two DC comic things that I'm actually reading. They do a poor job here, because there's really no information as to how Joker knows all this stuff, and especially about Barbara, and how is he in charge of Wayne Company, or Wayne Co, whatever. So that's really interesting. I found it interesting that Alicia and Frankie were name dropped, and I'm like, oh wow, you do remember who those two characters are, but it's totally weird. Okay, let's go over here. Oh man, this will be interesting. Okay, here we go. This number one. Okay, yeah, she's going to undress. You got the creepy eyes over here. I can't point to anything, but you've got creepy eyes back there. He's watching her undress. Creep factor is rising for me. She's doing weird yoga down there. Ice pack, that's reasonable. She was just out on a date, actually. That actually is dumb now that I think about it. Oh, she's drinking wine. Someone said she's drinking coffee. And I'm like, no, it's tea. Look at this. This is what I'm talking about. What are you doing? Why you sense someone who's inside my apartment, stay calm, throw them, what is she doing? Why this weird yoga pose and then throwing it? It is so bizarre. Then I'm going to go with my notes here, because it's going to, look at this. Here's an offensive thing right now. And this is all stemming from the Killing Joke. This is the Killing Joke for our generation, I suppose I'll say. And I've got major problems with that, but I'll just say, here we go. We've got the photograph motif. Of course we do. There it is everywhere. Of course we need to say or see all of that. Yeah, my next point is the whole issue is sick and perverted. if you ask me. So first off, yeah, you've got to take a lot of things for granted. Joker somehow gets into Barbara Gordon's apartment, which I think is ridiculous. I will accuse Castellucci here of not knowing Barbara, in the sense that no matter how dilapidated that apartment is, Barbara Gordon with Oracle's past would have absolutely had more security, any security. There was no security. What, a padlock? Huh? Absolutely not. So you got to take that for granted. You also have to somehow take for granted that the Joker understands the technology that is running Barbara's implant enough that he finds something to destabilize it. And boy, how, yeah, look at that. Look at that imagery there. Click. You've got this silhouette of her buzzing out, and now she's on the ground here. Here's where, and I don't know if anyone talked about this. I don't know. I don't even read reviews. So here I am going. The Killing Joke. We're viewing The Killing Joke, and I don't know if we're trying to make it better or not, but The Killing Joke, he manipulates her body physically to take images of her, right? To take pictures. We have already got that photographic motif. We don't know whether she was sexually assaulted. Lots of things point to that in The Killing Joke. This is pretty terrible because he is still physically manipulating her. Here we see her crawling around, but then all of a sudden, click, click, click. Now he's controlling her like a puppeteer. And just how invasive and gosh, I'm trying to think of just proper words to use. I mean, it's every bit as sick. He's not touching her, but he is using a device to manipulate her, to bring her closer to him, to basically everything against her will. How is that not, without the sexual element, how is that not like raping somebody of something? I mean, rape comes from rapio, rapere, which means to take or steal at its very least. And he is absolutely doing that, which makes it, I don't know. I mean, what the writer, and I'll bring DC Comics and editorial in there as well, they're trying to make this better by having her fight all along the way and trying to do stuff, but everything that she tries to do ends up for naught. So it's just failure after failure after failure. The SOS doesn't go through because it's the wrong one. It's connected to the wrong person. He's dead. It's not going to help you. She's moving around, tries to throw a batarang. None of it's working. And so that's almost, I don't know. I was going to say it's almost worse. At least she's fighting back. Is that the positive that you can get out of it? I don't really know. And all of these lines of "you're worthless," "you're just like me," etc. I'm really reading what DC Comics has to say about Batgirl, because honestly, they don't treat the character with respect either. If you treated the character with respect, you would not be doing garbage like this. We've already had The Killing Joke. We've already had her go up against the Joker countless times. Suicide Squad was a good one. I did one in Birds of Prey, I'm pretty sure, where he was in a uh, he was in a prison of some sort. It's been a while since I've done the Birds of Prey, but I can remember it in my mind. And there have been positive outcomes of that. Like, she's shown that she can handle it. But now it's like, yeah, let's revisit the trauma. And I even read something, I think it was Jeff Johns, is like, yeah, I mean, the Joker is in control of Gotham, whatever's going on there. I can't really speak to that with any authority. But hey, let's look at Jason Todd and his trauma with Joker. Let's look at Barbara with her trauma. My gosh, I mean, yes. And I just went on this sort of thing with Harold, right? That these are fictional characters. I understand Barbara Gordon is a fictional character, but how many times are you going to make readers and huge fans go through the trauma with her? The Killing Joke was enough. Stop having this imagery. Stop putting her through it again. That's why I feel like this is exceptionally offensive. It's offensive to the character. It's offensive to fans reading it as well. Stop putting someone through trauma, because you're putting other people through trauma as well. So the worthless thing. I mean, gosh, DC Comics doesn't respect her either, because they treat her apparently with Margaret Surratt treating her storylines as worthless too. Yeah, they're building this reunion up to be huge, but honestly, who wants it? You know, Jeff Johns, I guess, wants it. I don't know who was asking for it. I wasn't. I don't know that any other Barbara Gordon fan would ask for it. She's had better reunions with him. Absolutely. She's bested him. We don't need to keep pounding her down. So she has to pull herself up and beat him again. But she was pounded down so much in this particular story. She's barely ground level at the end. And it's so self-deprecating. And the character honestly deserves better than she's gotten. I mean, there's a reason why, you know, I would potentially tattoo her on my body if I ever did, or, you know, there's a reason why I've done 10 years of this, nearly 200 episodes, is because it's a character that I respect. And why are you putting me through this? Why are you putting her through this? She deserves better. Absolutely. Um, yeah, why do we keep doing the story over and over and over again? That's certainly a discussion I've had with a couple people on Twitter. I don't get it. This is the same thing with her entire run, starting from I wouldn't even say New 52, really. It would be post, was it Rebirth, I guess? You know, post the Burnside run, that she's trying to find herself, trying to start over. And boy, she's really starting over multiple times. Wow, this is getting old. Why is this happening again? Now I've got, oh, the Killing Joke, oh, the Joker. Yeah, she's having some trouble with him again and again and again. It's almost treating readers like idiots. Like, do we have short-term memory that we don't remember that this has happened before? I mean, give me a bit more credit here. Yeah, it's a comic book, but I'm an actual intelligent human being. Where else are we? Oh, yeah, let's get to this. Give me a break. Here we go. He puppeteers. Oh, well, oh, okay. Look at, so he puppeteers her out, touching. What the frack? I mean, if you look, like his fingers curling around the outside of her breast. Oh my gosh, man alive. Yeah, it's so sick. It's really sick. Okay, so she's got this detritus. She picked it up somewhere. I was trying to trace all of this because it's kind of weird. So she sees it. There she sees it with temporary ba da ba da. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Okay, here we go. Look at this. It takes self-mutilation to break her out of his control. I don't even know what that says about the writing, about DC Comics, that's what it takes. It reminds me of Saw. Isn't that the whole thing of Saw, is like you're given this extreme situation and it's either cut off some sort of limb or die, and you got to do something extreme, though. It's, you're going to put yourself through it. What this is, I'm basically watching a comic version of Saw happen to my favorite character. Thanks, DC Comics. This is ridiculous. And then she stabs it. I mean, where she stabbed it looks like in her back, but isn't the chip in the back of her neck? I really don't get it. I really don't. Let's go back, because there was a was it here? Let me think here. I did kind of do stuff in order. No, ugh, it's so sick. Okay. There was one scene. So the one art I did not like. I just like the style of art, I should say. Robbie Rodriguez. Robbie Rodriguez. I like it. This, look at, oh my gosh. What the actual F? No, seriously. I've got a couple things about this. So first of all, looks just like obviously that one image with him and his hands and his hair and everything. I think that is super offensive, just to, like, we're relating her directly to Joker. So not only does that actually confirm what he's saying, you're just like me, you're just like James Jr. Confirmation right there. How offensive, though, to have those two paired up together. Oh my gosh, to have a victim paired up with, compared to visually as well as verbally, with her attacker. I mean, can you imagine that in the real world, to have that happen to somebody? Why doesn't anyone think about this? Again, yes, it's a comic book, but hey, there are real world ramifications. So that's really sick. So she's laughing at him. Hey, does anyone remember this happening again? Again, you're thinking, hey, uh, Stella has short term memory loss. No, I don't. It took me a while to track down which it was. I could see it in my mind. I could see the story in my mind. It is the 1997 Batgirl story, which was the kind of tie-in to the Batman and Robin, which AKA best Batman film there is, where she laughs at him and he gets so upset and is like, "Stop laughing at me." So hey, here we have it again. Apparently that's his kryptonite. Where are we? Here we go. Yes, I call this the sickest scene of all. Barbara and Joker laying down near each other, both laughing. Um, and then he calls her the best Robin. Okay, so if I were to parse this scene here, number one, I don't want Barbara anywhere near him. I don't want her laying down like this. Is she holding his hair? What the F is going on? Bleeding out together. This also reminds me of wasn't it the wedding issue or the lead up to it where Catwoman and Joker were laying down next to each other and talking or something? So, let's copy that, shall we? The laughing. Okay, so clearly we're connecting it to the Killing Joke again, where Batman and Joker laughed. I don't want what? No, absolutely not. I don't know. That's up for debate. The end of the Killing Joke, why Batman was laughing. I can't even remember why I thought that happened. But there is no way that Barbara Gordon would ever laugh with the Joker. There is absolutely no way. Private joke or not, laughing at him, yes, but this is not that situation. Um, Reading it as I'm reading it. Number two, the fact that he says you actually are the best Robin, I find that whole Robin discussion exceptionally offensive as well. I mean, the theme for this part right here is I'm offended. Barbara Gordon should be offended. I'm offended on her behalf. As a reader, I'm offended. It's an offensive piece of writing, and DC Comics shouldn't have released it at all. Why are you comparing Barbara Gordon slash Batgirl to Robin? And I recognize that it's Joker doing it. But as a writer, why would you do that? Why are you demeaning her in this way? And I don't mean that as an insult to Robin, like, oh, Robin's so terrible. Why would you compare it to that? I mean, Barbara Gordon slash Batgirl is her own character. She's spent years. She's been trying to get out of that shadow of Batman and Robin since the Silver Age. And I feel like she has. And then we've got to bring it to this particular garbage and to say that she's the best Robin. Is that supposed to be a compliment? The compliment's coming from Joker. Why are you going to accept that compliment? And number two, again, she's not Robin, she's Batgirl. Give me a break. I feel like she's got her own identity. As Batgirl fans, why would I as a Batgirl fan want her to be called a Robin? And even, if I think about Stephanie Brown, who was a Robin and also a Batgirl, I feel like those are two completely different things, two spots on her journey. To see this grown woman, and even as a comic character, from where she came in the Silver Age to getting that respect in the Bronze Age, to be torn down again with Killing Joke, to be probably one of the best comic characters, one of the most important comic characters as Oracle, to be brought back to Batgirl, and it be really confusing with history and people not understand, also on the outside of this narrative arc, not understanding her character, and then to just be devolved into, well, you're just another type of Robin, as if her legacy as Batgirl doesn't exist, I think is well, guess what, folks? It's really offensive. This is, my gosh, I was thinking about this. My ire, I'm really, I wish I should have done like a little thing where you could see my heart rate on the monitor. I should actually probably stop sharing because I don't want to get logged out. What was I going to say? I've lost it now. Sorry. Oh, when I was really upset, which I am again, I was thinking to myself, was I ever this upset with Gail Simone in that New 52 run? And because I did not like it, and it's just hard. Like, I wonder if I hated that run. I remember giving low grades. I remember really terrible things. But I don't know if I've ever been as incensed with a comic as I have with this particular comic. Almost cracked my middle finger, which hurts still. Um, yeah, I don't. Yikes. I think that's the end of my tirade. I wonder how long that lasted. Longer, probably, than anyone ever imagined. But it's not an act, folks. I'll tell you that right now. I had read it before. I was incensed. Obviously, I took notes, but all of that was true and coming at you for reals. So maybe the clickbait worked for you. Maybe it didn't. I just think it's absolutely offensive for the reader. For me, I am offended as a Barbara Gordon fan, and for the character, I think it's terrible. Stop bringing back the Killing Joke and doing it again. It's enough. Enough. It's been done. You're not doing anything. You're not reinventing the wheel. Is that what it's called? Actually do something worthwhile. If you want to redo something that hasn't been done for a while, why don't you give Barbara Gordon a political position, like a congressional seat? Maybe that would actually be worthwhile. I can't even, honestly, I'm all ready to throw the writer's name under the bus and be like, how dare you do this? But I feel like after Margaret Scott's tweets, how much can I actually hold the writer accountable? Because she could have maybe been like me. I mean, if I were there writing this and I just said, no, this is a terrible idea, I'm not doing this, they would just fire me and have a fill-in writer that would go with the curve. Because so I just blame DC Comics and editorial for whatever this garbage is. Donovan asked, have you ever given a 0 out of 10? And I really couldn't, in my mind, think about a time that I have given a 0 out of 10. I'm not going to now. And the only reason I am not is, in fact, because of the style of the art. And I think Robbie Rodriguez deserves that one. I would give him a higher, actually, but I can't because of the rest of the story. So I'll give it a 1 out of 10 bats. Apparently, I don't know if we're even done with this, and we might have to revisit whatever garbage is about to happen. But yeah. Okay, well, now over to Chris for his cornucopia of curiosities. Of course, you can't hear him, so we'll move on to my anime watch list. I watched 2 shows recently, and I enjoyed them both. So this will at least bring me back, calm me down a bit. First is Convenience Store Boyfriends 2017. I watched this on Crunchyroll, so it was Japanese only, I believe, with English subtitles. 12 eps, 6 high school students' lives around the convenience store on their way from school. They talk about their lives and meet girls they end up falling for. So nice little school and slice of life and romance drama. And then on Netflix from 2014, I watched the English version, 12 episodes, Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. Chiyo Sakura is a cheerful high school girl who has fallen head over heels for the oblivious, Umetaru Nozaki. Much to Chiyo's confusion, when she confesses to her beloved Nozaki, he hands her an unfamiliar autograph. As it turns out, the stoic teenage boy is actually a respected shoujo mangaka, publishing under the pen name Sakiko Yumeno. A series of misunderstandings leads to Chiyo becoming one of Nozaki's manga artists. She does the black in the background. Throughout the hilarious events that ensue, she befriends many of her quirky schoolmates as well as people he knows, including her seemingly shameless fellow assistant. Why is it her? I should say his, right? Through the hilarious events that ensue, she befriends many of his quirky schoolmates, hers, okay, including his seemingly shameless fellow assistant, Mikoto Mikoshiba, and the prince of the school, Yukishima. And the prince, I will say, is actually a lady, and it's the English voice of Misaki from Maid Sama, which was great. I love that. Yeah, so she helps him with the manga, and she tries to, I don't know, tell him how she feels a couple of times, but he misunderstands, and he honestly is really oblivious because other people know that she likes him, but he doesn't, and they don't get together at the end of the series, which was interesting. Winding down. So we are at the what are you wearing segment, which really only makes sense for the people who are watching. But I went with, I was going to wear a Batman Beyond hat, and then I ended up doing my hair more complicated than I thought it was going to be. But I decided to go with Broadway. I'm wearing the Hades Town, the Myth the Musical. You can see with the flower in the hand. And then the back says, a kingdom will fall for a song, a kingdom will fall for a song. I also want to show you, so in the background, I tried to change a bit, things that are back there, and this little guy. So I do love pop figs, and I have to calm myself down from getting any of them, though the majority have come from other people. But I will say, if there's anything cuter than a pop fig, it is an itty bitty from Hallmark, and I've got several itty bitties, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This guy, and then I think I have 2 in my car, so I've got 12 itty bitties. I saw this itty bitty, and also, thank you to my mom for giving me these itty bitties. They are a joy. This guy, they're normally small. They're about this size normally. This size. This is the most inventive itty bitty ever. I'm easily amused. It is a tauntaun from Empire Strikes Back. And little Luke, he's inside of the itty bitty's belly. Oh, I loved it so much. And shout out to Momsy for getting it, and he just popped up. It was a surprise that came one day, but oh my gosh, isn't that great? When he was in Hoth and all that stuff. Oh man. Anyways, so that's my fun thing. So that brings me some joy. I should put that with the mac and cheese. So I didn't want to leave on the terribleness that is Batgirl 47. The final thing, I'm going to be on my phone again, apologies, is of course my literature recommendations. And I've got to go through my Goodreads to figure out what I have read. Pausing, waiting. You know, the weird thing about the video is that I should be looking, I guess. I mean, I can't see you right now, but I should just look at this camera. But I'm looking over here because of my notes. I'm looking at me to see that everything's okay. Ooh. Just saw that Thomas, I got him for his birthday, The Ballads of Songbirds and Snakes, and it just popped up on the Goodreads that he wants to read it. Nope. Okay, let's see here. Are you ready for this? It's loading. Okay, here we go. The last one I did was Opposite of Fate, so I have to start from there. Here we go. Okay, I read Eleanor Roosevelt Volume 1, because there are 3 of those, 1884 to 1933, by Blanche Wiesen Cook. The Portable Dorothy Parker, by Dorothy Parker, of course. Firefly Lane, Kristen Hanna. I would love to talk to this woman. Tried to find her on the Twitter, but I you never know if it's actually that person. Let me read the synopsis on this one, because actually I do really recommend it, but with Kristen Hanna, apparently you just need to have your emotions ready to be destroyed. Okay, in the turbulent summer of 1974, Kate Malarkey has accepted her place at the bottom of the 8th grade social food chain. Then, to her amazement, the coolest girl in the world moves in across the street and wants to be her friend. Tully Hart seems to have it all: beauty, brains, ambition. On the surface, they are as opposite as 2 people can be. Kate, doomed to be forever uncool with a loving family who mortifies her at every turn. Tully, steeped in glamour and mystery, but with a secret that is destroying her. They make a pact to be best friends forever. By summer's end, they've become Tully and Kate, which is one word, inseparable. Yeah, it spans more than 3 decades. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I could go on and talk about this. There is a part 2 which I've just now put on hold because if you recall, I had 13 books that came in all at once. I'm down to 1, people. It's so exciting. But I was waiting to put things on hold. It was an exercise in temperance because I thought I still have these books. I can't put these other things on hold. So I'm going to see part 2, and then also um a Netflix series is about to be created on that one. So I'm gonna watch it, but it's gonna be a tearjerker for sure. Unless by Carol Shields, Old School by Tobias Wolff. Let me tell you a funny story about this. I started reading this and I thought, well, first of all, I had seen the cover and I thought, that seems familiar, but it's not crossed out on my reading list. So, and it wasn't my Goodreads at the time. So I thought, I guess I didn't. And I started reading, and I thought, man, this seems so familiar. What other book had visiting authors come to this boys' school? There was that one book where Ayn Rand came to a boys' school, reading. OMG, Ayn Rand just came to this boys' school. So I ended up rereading that book. So I have to keep better track. Balzac and the Little Chinese Seamstress by Dai CJ, and I think translated by Ina Rilke. Audiobook recommendation, Sharks in the Time of Saviors by Kawai Strong Washburn. The Last Empire Essays, 1992 to 2000 by Gore Vidal. The Art of War by Sun Tzu. Galapagos, which I have yet to edit that episode, but it should come out in August on Required Reading with Tom and Stella by Kurt Vonnegut Jr., so you can check that out. Empire Falls by Richard Russo. I didn't enjoyed as much as I know other people because it won the Pulitzer, didn't it? And I did watch the HBO adaptation of it. I don't know. I just couldn't get on board with it. I didn't feel like any of the characters were likable. Demons by Dostoevsky. I'm kind of to the point of you've read one Russian novel, you read them all, and I've read enough. I think that's my last Russian novel I have to read, actually. Becoming by Michelle Obama. Politics in Gotham, the Batman Universe, and Political Thought, edited by Damian K. Picariello, and which I'll be talking about soon in a few moments. And then the final audiobook that I read, which was recommended by Carolyn on our previous episode that we were on, and she said, yeah, I think you would like this. It's Evie Drake Starts Over by Linda Holmes. I read that and listen to it, sorry, and I recommend that. There's shipping, which is always good, but I always get nervous when there's shipping, so I was texting her like, if this turns out poorly, you realize you betrayed me and I'll never forgive you, that sort of thing. So friendships are on the line when people give me romantic-esque novels. And yeah, so I've been listening to way more audiobooks than I normally do. Normally I save them for trips, like trips up to New York City, which I'm more in that loss because that was I usually take a yearly trip up to Broadway, which is kind of one of the reasons why I wore my Hadestown shirt. But yeah, but besides, oh gosh, I guess I haven't really talked to you guys about this, but I've been cycling so much. I think I've mentioned it, but I just did, I think, 280 miles in the month of July. One of my good friends from college, we're doing like I guess a challenge. And so this month she said, let's do 200. And so I was doing self. And so my average, I do every other day. And my average on like the regular days are about 20 miles. And then one of those 3 days, I do a long ride, and I've been increasing that one, obviously. And so, like I said, 40 is now my peak. I think it's my peak for forever. It's not just in this go around, but I'm pretty sure when I first was really cycling, when I first got the bike, that 40 was, I think, the most I have done. So what was my point? Oh, okay. In between that, I walk and hike. So when I'm doing those sorts of things, because I don't think I have the legs to do. I mean, I guess you just build it, but I kind of want to break from biking. I don't need to do it all the time. I walk, hike, and then that's when I've been listening to audiobooks. So unfortunately, I'm behind in the podcasting, but and Alan's gonna get on me for this, but I really only listen to who's who, but any recommendations would be in the queue, and it's just been a while since I've done that. But I'm hoping that I get to take this class I want to take at UVA, and I'm close enough. I mean, it's about maybe 2 miles or so from campus. I live 2 miles from campus or grounds, so I feel like I'll be listening to a lot of stuff. So podcasting or audiobooks and stuff. So yeah, once COVID started, because I thought I can't get any library books, I should look for as many as I can for my reading list and put them on Audible and just use Audible. And I was able to do that. And now that the library has opened, now I'm listening to some books that I don't know. I guess I don't know what the decision is maybe behind some of them. There are a couple that I still have on the Audible list that are on my reading list that I can't get from the library. And then just other ones that maybe I would prefer to listen to. So, for example, High School, which I think I recommended a while ago by Sarah Quinn and Tegan Quinn from Tegan and Sarah. I have read it, but I also want to listen to it because I know that they actually put in clips from their old recordings of the songs that they ended up redoing for their album that came out, Hey, I'm Just Like You. So things like that. And then just, yeah, maybe less serious novels, like Evie Drake wasn't a serious novel. So 'cause I'm more of a visual, so it's got to be something that will engage me enough and I can follow the best that I can. So yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Part two was perhaps more entertaining than part one. Part one was, I think, more philosophical. I don't know. More of a head, and I think part two is more of a heart. So, but I when I check my views, it's like 12 views, and there's always more views on part one, so I always wonder what that's about. Like, did they just check in a bit and they're like, yeah, that's okay, I don't even need part two, this is enough? I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see if there's um, uh, a strong difference between part two and part one, since part two is where the rage quit is, which, what did I say? I was off by 3 minutes, right? I think so. So I'll have to say 9 minutes in, you can see the beginning of my rage quit. But I guess technically even that's a lie, because I didn't start rage quitting until after the synopsis. So whatevs. Remember, you can send any questions or comments to batgirltheoracle@gmail.com. So I've asked some questions. The sex scenes, the comparison, why does it bother me? What's, I don't know. Why isn't anyone talking about it? The decisions, etc. And then Alan, I've specifically asked to write into me regarding my representation of Christianity and what his thoughts are. Donovan, I've called out to explain Batjerk, that he hasn't fired Cassandra yet, and also the fact that it was his mistake that led to the death of another human being. Yeah, yep. Oh, I forgot to talk about his detective mistake, because he even checked that the dead body that he found was Matches Malone. He just assumed. Explain yourself, Donovan Morgan Grant. And yeah, I mean, I guess if you have any thoughts on Batgirl 47, I'll be glad to hear it. It'd be interesting if someone loved it, and I would love to hear what you have to say about that. Find the show on Google Play and Stitcher, and now you can find it on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Batgirl the Oracle. And like the show on Facebook, follow it on Twitter at Batgirl Oracle. Follow the Batman Universe on Facebook and Twitter as well. Support the Batman Universe by subscribing to Patreon. Once again, thanks to Mile High Comics for sponsoring Batgirl the Oracle, the Barbara Gordon podcast. Next time, which is actually in 2 days, I am recording with a colleague on politics in Gotham that I just talked about. and it is not going up on YouTube right away just because I didn't want to oversaturate, if that even exists, for my thank you 12 viewers. But it'll maybe the week after, I don't know. So you can just keep on the lookout for that. And I guess I should say what trigger warning. I guess we'll be talking about politics. I said no ad hominem attacks, so he can't call Trump a poopy face, I told him. And some religion may pop up as well, so just trigger warnings on that. But until then, and I guess the next, so that'll be August, then I think the next episode Carolyn will be on, so then I can ask her personally, how did you feel being thrown into the deep end of the Stella personality pool? And she can let us know if I scared her off or not. So here we are. Until then, until that craziness, thank you for putting up with me, and hopefully it was entertaining. Again, that wasn't an act, people. That was real life. Until then, fly on, bats lovers. Age